one day Haley was tinkering in the workshop, because Haley is a tinkerer, and amidst the many chemicals and projects on her desk, there is quite an interesting compound, and she looked at it and decided that she'd do her thing, and so she just mindlessly began to tinker. And interesting story, that tinkering led to a great discovery, and that discovery was water. So Haley actually infused her own desires to be transparent and clean into her work, and created that beautiful gift for all of us. Next time you go for a nice, cool, refreshing glass of ice water, remember who you have to thank for it, and that person standing right here. Please give it up for Haley.
Hello? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, hi guys. So I'm Haley Kowalski, and today I will be talking about communication and transparency. Title of my slides, Words Unspoken, 3 tips to increase your capacity to communicate. Oh, thank you. So, let's see if I can. So, my time to talk. So in the winter of 2015 semester, I took COMM 150, which is interpersonal communications for those of you that don't know. And in my head, it was just going to be a requirement that fulfilled my major, but little did I know that it was much more than that. I had Professor Orchard, who teaches COMM 150 as well as environmental stewardship, and for those of you that don't know him, he is beyond passionate about his career, his life, family, his relationships, and he had a way of infusing that passion into us. So I've always struggled with speaking, not necessarily public speaking, but I've had problems with communicating one-on-one with other people, words that I wanted to say but I just didn't feel brave enough to say them. I hated confrontation. I wasn't passive-aggressive necessarily, but I would just kind of avoid any type of one-on-one verbal combat, and I would retreat from those situations. So my goal for this year, for 2016, was to become more transparent with my peers and my family and people that I was in relationships with. I wanted to be able to express myself fully without retreating and without fearing the consequences. So the digital struggle, 1 in 3 teens send over 100 texts a day. More than half of these use text to communicate daily and as their sole source of communication. And only 33% of teens talk face-to-face regularly with their peers. So with these statistics, it's not a surprise that myself and others included struggle with one-on-one conversations and talking outside of the screen and off of the web. It's an epidemic, I would like to say, that our generation and upcoming generations face the struggle and the problem of not being able to express their ideas and communicate their thoughts clearly. So tip 1, transparency starts from within. So if you want to be able to communicate with others, you have to be able to communicate with yourself. You have to understand your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual standing before you can try to convey your thoughts to others. Once you are familiar with your mental and verbal communication skills, it's easier to portray to others what you're trying to get across. So first step is acceptance within transparency. You have to accept yourself and accept others for how they communicate and how they're trying to communicate. Second is self-concept. Self-concept is the idea that we have about ourselves. It's the characteristics that we associate with ourselves. We understand that we're tall or short or blonde, brunette, smart or ignorant, passive-aggressive, anything like that. That is our self-concept. That's what makes up. So self-esteem is directly related to self-concept. Self-esteem is how you view your self-concept or how you feel about that. My self-esteem could be that I am happy that I think I am great at public speaking, or I could be upset that I don't think I'd do very well at public speaking. So in high school, I really struggled with my self-esteem. I was really, really afraid of what others thought of me, and I felt like I needed validation for everything that I did. So I was very quiet, and I was known kind of as the people pleaser. I got along with everyone, and I was just very relaxed and easygoing, and I kind of let life happen to me rather than happen to life. So that was something that I really struggled with until I got to college and learned how to better communicate with myself to communicate with others. So, second tip for communicating with transparency is safety. You need safety in the relationship and in the conversation to be able to have these crucial conversations. So, you need to be able to be emotionally level to be able to have these conversations. You can't come in with heightened senses and anxiety and trepidation. You need to be able to be calm and accept what's going to happen. You have to understand your personal agenda. What are you trying to get out of this conversation? What are you trying to get out of the relationship? And what do you want for the other person and yourself? Your North Star is what you need to focus on in this conversation. For me, my North Star is what do I want? What does the other person want? And what is my message that I'm trying to get across? And within safety, sometimes it's important to remember that your personal agenda, even though like this message is something that you are so desperately trying to get across, is not what needs to happen in the conversation. You need to be able to get on the same level as the other individual before you can get any message across. And so you can't be shouting your message at them, expecting them to listen if they're only shouting back at you. So, next, a label no more. So we have a tendency as humans, mortals, beings, to label people and label circumstances, label conversations, and that is something that we really need to kick to the curb. Labeling puts people and situations, conversations in a box, and it builds on preconceived notions and ideas and expectations. And then when these don't play to the labels, we get frustrated and anxious and upset that things didn't really work out as we had planned. So by kicking labels to the curb and not labeling, we break the mold. We stop forcing people and personalities into boxes and into status quos, and it helps us to focus on the individual and on the conversation. So my closing quote that I want to share with you all is by Brené Brown, and she says, "Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do." So what I wanted to get across today about transparency is that the main idea or the main thing that you can get across from my message today is that transparency starts from acceptance. It starts with accepting yourself, your situation, your understanding of how you communicate and how others communicate, and accepting others. Thank you.